Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. I've been away for a while, but I'm back again now with a brand spanking new farming simulator game. There's lots of new features and lots of changes since the last game that we're going to cover today. I'm not going to make this a tutorial. If you need a tutorial for Farming Simulator because you haven't played these games before, check out my other videos. Those tutorials are for Farming Simulator 17, but they still apply to this game. The controls are still the same, most of the menus are still the same, and the general gameplay hasn't really changed from previous versions. So my old tutorials will still apply perfectly to this one. This video, however, is to cover the new features and changes that have been made since the last one. So we'll get straight into it. And when you start your careers now, I'll just delete this one. Don't need it anymore. When you start a new career now, instead of easy, medium and hard, they are essentially still the same difficulty levels, but they've changed the names of them now. So if you play on easy now, as it says, you already own land and some equipment, and in the Ravenport map they'll teach you how to play Farming Simulator. We have two brand new maps this time, and from what I've heard they will be bringing out some of the older maps from the last version of the game. They've already brought out the Mexican map. Medium is Farm Manager mode. Now with Farm Manager mode you will start with more money, but you also own no land, you don't have any buildings, and you don't have any equipment. So you've got to be very careful about how you spend your money. You'll also get a slightly lower price on crops, just like you did in the last game on Medium, and you'll start the game with a $250,000 loan that you'll have to pay back. And then of course you've got the hardest, which is start from scratch. You will start with absolutely nothing. Very little money, certainly not enough to buy land and equipment with. You'll have to do odd jobs for other farmers to build up your capital a little bit. So for the purposes of this video, we're just going to go with the new farmer. And these are your two new maps now. So you've got Ravenport, which is a US map, and then you've got Felsbrunn as well, which is a European map. And we'll start here, just so the game doesn't go running us through all of the tutorials that we don't need. Now don't worry about these mods that I've downloaded. These are available from the mods menu within the game. They're all put out by Giants. It's just a few extra tractors and pieces of equipment that didn't get included with the base game. You can download them if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And one of the things that I have noticed is that the loading times seem to be significantly longer than they were in the last game. But having said that, the graphics are so much better. It's one of the first things you're going to notice when your game loads up. You may not be able to see the difference. If you watch this video and then you watch one of my older ones from Farming Sim 17, you probably won't see the difference much. YouTube doesn't do it justice. But I can promise you the graphics are better. They have vastly improved particles and lighting, particularly the weather. You can now see the clouds rolling across the sky. It doesn't just suddenly turn dark and then start raining. You will see it coming. Load in, load in, load in. Okay, let's get into it. So when you start a new farmer, this is basically what you start with. You get a decorative building over there that doesn't really serve any function. This is your farmhouse. Now, in previous games you had to speed up the clock and stand there forever waiting for your crops to grow. You don't have to do that anymore. I think it's after 7 PM. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's after 7 PM. You can step into your house and you'll see up the top left there it says press R to sleep, and you can choose how many hours you sleep through the night. So you can sleep right through until the next morning and harvest your crops a little quicker, a lot less playing around. And when you start on new farmer mode, you'll get your usual harvester. A tractor and a cultivator. and a weight for the front of the tractor. You'll get another tractor with a seeder and a weight. And another tractor to pull your trailer. I would suggest that this tractor, which is the Fiat, I think, yeah. I'd suggest that you just simply sell this tractor. It has a top speed of 25 kilometers an hour. It's useless for anything but pulling that very small trailer. I'd suggest that you sell it. You can get yourself some extra money right off the bat just by selling that tractor. You don't need it. You can make do with two. Now, one of the biggest changes this year is actually in the escape menu. And you can see there's your map. It's a pretty sizable map, as they always are. You've got plenty of fields. It's mostly small ones, but you do have a few very large fields. Now, at the start of the game, you own 2 if you're playing on new farmer mode. If you were playing on medium, none of this would be here. You would not own these fields, and you wouldn't have any of the buildings that were there when we started. You wouldn't have any of the tractors or other equipment. You would have to buy that stuff from scratch. Now, playing in this mode, you can see there, you start up in the top right, you start with $100,000. When you're playing on medium mode, I think you start with about 1.2 million, which might sound like a lot, but if we press X on the first tab, on the map tab here, you can see these 2 green ones. These are the fields that we own, and this will allow you now to click around the map, and you can see here's your balance, here's what the field costs. You don't have to run around to fields anymore and buy them that way. You can now do it straight from the map, which personally I think it's about time, because modders have been doing that for years, in the last at least 2 versions of this game. And you can see it's not cheap buying land. Even that small plot of land with that little field there is $107,000. Now, the other thing they've done too, if you decide to go the route of logging, or even if you just want to mow grass, you cannot do this anymore on lands that you do not own. So when you buy land, you don't just buy that field. Say I want to buy field 21, you're not just buying the field, you're actually buying the surrounding land as well, which is why everything is now bordered. And when you buy the surrounding land, then you may cut down trees or mow grass or whatever it is that you want to do. The second big thing that they have changed in this year's version of the game is maintenance. Now, it used to be that you got charged a daily maintenance fee for your machines, and the older they got, the more you got charged, and then eventually, if you wanted to reduce that cost, you would have to sell it and buy a new machine. Doesn't work that way anymore. Now, over time, your machines will still degrade like they did, but if you buy a vehicle workshop or take it down to the shop where there is a vehicle workshop there, you pay a once-off repair fee to repair it back to 100%. Having said that, the wear rate does seem to be pretty high at the moment. My harvester, for instance, the header on it wears out faster than the vehicle does, and I think I get maybe 4 harvests out of it before it's down to 50%. And really, you'd want to repair it once it gets to 50%. Your performance does start to suffer, and it does show on the vehicle, so you do want to repair it no lower than 50%. Now, when you're starting on easy now, it used to be that you also started with a loan. You no longer do, which is a good thing. You don't owe any money that you have to pay back. That $100,000 is all yours. Now, you click on the Animals tab in the last game, and it would tell you all the different animal types, what you need to feed them, and so on and so forth. Doesn't do that anymore, because guess what? The animals are not actually placed on the map. None of the pens have been placed on the map anywhere. So if you're looking around your map for where the cow pen and the sheep pen and all that is, they're not there. You have to buy them, and you can place them yourself. This is a good thing because it means you can have multiples. And I think you can have up to 10 animal pens in total in this game. So if you wanted to just have chickens, you could have 10 chicken pens. If you wanted to have just cows, so on and so forth. And there's a new animal type this year. They've added horses, which can be trained, and you can ride them around as a mode of transport as well. But once a horse has been fully trained, they are worth a lot of money. They're the big cash crop this time, not cows. Also, you'll have to transport your own cow milk. And you will now have to transport your eggs if you've got chickens as well. Now this is where you'll find contracts now for other farmers. You won't have to drive around the fields and look for jobs. If you need a job from another farmer because you're a bit low on cash, this is where you'll find it. It's in the contracts tab up the top here. And you'll notice the maximum pay for this particular job is $3,917. This is the equipment that you would need. However, you can use your own, or if you lease the equipment, it will reduce your reward by a certain amount. Often it's not worth it to lease the equipment. That one's not too bad. You lose $400 out of it, so you're still getting over $3,000. But in some cases, it's just too expensive to lease the equipment. And if you have to fill up things like fertilizers and seeders and stuff like that, it will reimburse you for that cost. Now, another very large change to the game is a lot of the options. Whoops, leave that on. Turn that off. There's a lot of the options that have come with it now. So, all of the fuel usage and the helper refill options are still exactly the same. I'm just going to turn those off. Plant growth options are still the same, as is withering. Crop destruction has now been added to the game. Now if you turn this on, it means that if you drive over a crop without the proper tyres on your tractor, without narrow tyres, you'll wreck the crop. You'll completely destroy it, and you'll lose a whole lot of money. Now from what I can tell, this doesn't apply if you drive over a field that belongs to the AI. If it doesn't belong to you, you don't wreck the crop, thank God. Periodic ploughing is still the same. Weeds have now been added to the game, and in the shop you'll actually find a new category of, you'll find that the weeders now actually have a use. They're not there just for cosmetics. They're not there just for a bit of role playing. They actually have a use now. Weeds will grow in your fields if you leave this turned on, and if you get to it early enough while they're still small, you can use a weeder. If you don't get to it in time and they grow rather large and they start to flower, and you'll notice it because they look like flowers throughout your entire field, then you'll have to use your sprayer to spray herbicides in order to kill them. If you don't do it, you're going to lose a lot of crop yield out of it. So it's a good idea, if you're going to leave weeds on, make sure you've got both a weeder and a tank of herbicides as well on hand, because sometimes you're going to miss it. The other thing, as part of the fertilizing process, they've now added the requirement to spread lime. Again, you can turn it off if you want to, but I'm going to warn you now, if you turn off lime, you turn off fertilizing altogether. So basically, you just cultivate, seed, and harvest with no fertilizing in between. If you leave lime on, make sure you always spread the lime, and there are specific lime spreaders. I think you can use manure spreaders with lime as well. Make sure that you spread that lime before you cultivate or seed, because otherwise it won't count. Now it will show up on your map. As a matter of fact, I think one of these fields, if you go soil composition, oh no, okay, they don't need lime right now. Probably because they've both got crops in them. Once I harvest that, those will turn light blue. That light blue colour there means that it needs to have lime spread on it. Now lime's bloody expensive, so only leave it on if you're pretty good at managing your money. If you're only just learning how to play, I suggest you turn the lime off. And then of course all these options are still exactly the same as they always used to be as well. So you can change your money units, measuring units, area units from hectares to acres if you want. And those are the changes to your options. And if we go to the shop and we have a look at our tractors, John Deere has now been added as a new brand this year. I've heard some good things and some bad things about them. Some people are saying they're really great tractors in the game. Some people are saying they're really not worth spending the money on. That choice is yours. Try out whichever tractors you like. I haven't personally tried them out yet. I haven't really gone that far in my own game. I've been too busy getting everything set up to get YouTube going. But now that I'm back on YouTube, once this video is done, we are going to start a Let's Play series, and I think we'll try out some of the John Deere tractors while we're at it as well. If anybody wants to see particular types of tractors, just post in the comments during the Let's Play series and let me know, and we'll see what we can do about buying them in the game. What else has changed? That's pretty much it. The only other thing that I can think of at the moment is one small change that's been made to the map that is actually really handy. Is where are all the drop off points? So for example, say you need to go to the grain mill to sell a load of crop. Now you can click on it and press backspace, or just click down here where it says tag place, and what that will do is shoot a bloody great big green beam of light into the sky to direct you to where it is, so you can't get lost on the map anymore like you used to. It's a really handy feature, and also on top of that, when you're looking at your prices, say I want to find the highest price for wheat, just click on wheat, and it's showing me the highest price for it. I don't know where the train station mill happens to be. I don't want to get lost. Just double click on it and it will mark it out. You can't miss it. Just follow the roads in that general direction and you will eventually get to it. So there's no more excuses for people getting lost on maps anymore, especially those guys uploading to YouTube or doing their own Let's Play series that get constantly lost. I'm not going to name names. There's no more reason for that, because you can see it from a mile away. You can actually see that from the opposite end of the map. And on top of that, it will also place a flashing beacon on your little mini map down the bottom there, as you can see. Alright, so those are the changes and the new features to the game. I'm sure I've probably missed a few as well, but they'll come up during the Let's Play series and we can cover them then. So until we do our first episode for the Let's Play series, have yourselves a good one, and I hope I'll see you soon. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.